Вітаю, шановні колеги. Розпочинаємо наш...
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are starting our traditional briefing. Today we are talking about the project of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine called Safe Educational School Environment. On the instruction of the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, the government is working to have restored as many schools as possible by September the 1st. Having said that, school children will be able to return to their desks only if all safety measures are met. Once again, I will reiterate all institutions that do not meet the established standards, and I will be talking about them later, will not conduct face-to-face instruction. In his turn, the head of government commissioned a number of relevant instructions to local self-government and bodies of the central executive body. They include to organize regular training on the evacuation of students to shelters and to provide all the conditions for staying and studying in shelters. It provides also for all the conditions for staying safe, to carry out mandatory inspection by the experts of the state emergency services, as well as the adjacent territories of schools for the presence of explosive devices. We will also provide a stepped-up protection of kindergartens and schools. We will provide transportation and convoy of children to school where necessary. We will conduct training on actions in the event of an air raid alarm. The decision on the mode of education in different regions will be made separately and perhaps by every educational institutions, perhaps not by regional scope, but by the one-off basis. We understand that since we are checking the bomb shelters and other checks are being made, we will make a decision whether such requirements are made, and only in that case will the face-to-face training begin. The Ministry of Internal Affairs, together with the Ministry of Education, plans to carry out a number of preventing measures. It includes the placement of information stands. They will be done in very accessible manner and vivid mode for children to understand as regards the necessary steps to be taken. And again, it will be done in a very simple language for children. When we talk about the national police and the National Service for Emergency Situation, we will provide additional information for children to understand what's written on those stands, for them to be able to ask questions in case they have wants on these bright and accessible stands. The necessary changes will be made to the content of curricula for grades from 6 to 11, including the subject Defense of Ukraine. This subject will deal with the mine actions, that is to say, how to behave once you've seen something resembles a mine, what to do, what not to do. And these issues will be part of this curricula. At the beginning of the academic year, the representatives of the Ministry of the Interior, together with the school authorities, will conduct a unified lesson in all the territory of Ukraine, where will specify the behavior of children in case there is a dangerous situation. We will provide also the protection of the kindergartens, schools, and universities to create safe conditions and also to prevent such rules breach of law, including the behavior of the motorists. We would like to remind the drivers that in some schools the new academic year will begin, and you should be very careful when driving in the vicinity of schools. Attention also needs to be paid to the issue of training in case of emergency events. Currently, the state emergency services have conducted more than 3,500 such trainings, and every single school will see such events once they are ready to provide face-to-face education. During the implementation of this project, within the Ministry of the Interior, we are planning to develop a safety alphabet for secondary school pupils. We will also develop a mobile application where children can find answers to all possible questions relating to their safety. As children, we often think that we have explained everything to our kids, but more often than not, some details seem to be left behind. The Ministry of the Interior wants to make sure that the children are ready for, God forbid, every dangerous and emergency situation. This safety alphabet will provide all the necessary information, including the mobile application. You know, we are working in the austere financial possibilities, but we are also aware that we must make everything possible that our children begin their education in the most safe conditions. I would also like to note that we are mindful of the challenges that we see every academic year, even before the war began. We are talking about the crimes committed by and against children. You see, the danger is not only within the martial law, but beyond this. That's why the priority areas for events at the educational institutions include countermeasures against domestic violence, bullying of a participant of the educational process. The bullying process, we believe, must be treated in most careful terms. This year, we know about a lot of internally displaced persons. So there are new teams in schools, children change their schools, and we believe that active action must be done in this area. The safe behavior on the internet. We also work on the prevention of children's consumption of alcohol, beverages, and tobacco products, drug addiction prevention, and responsibility of children for committing offenses. As for the committed offenses against children, over the 6-month criminal investigation was launched in 1,400 cases, including 647 cases of serious felonies and especially grave crimes. As for the cases committed by children, we have identified more than 1,900 children without care. They were taken into police custody. More than 1,300 of minors were held accountable for smoking in the prohibited places, more than 1,600 for consuming beer, alcohol, or low alcohol beverages, or appearing in public transportation under the influence. We are also mindful of the project School Police Officer. This project was commissioned in 2016. From the very beginning, the goal of the project was to create a harmonious environment in educational institutions. Currently, the challenges seem to be the same, but we understand that in the environment of the war, they have to be amended. The School Officer project has been ongoing even after the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Russia to Ukraine and under the martial law. In the new academic year, the duties of the school police officer will envisage the topics of safety, road rules, and road safety. They will be talking about the harmful effects of drugs, alcohol, and tobacco with children. They will have to pay special attention to preventive measures and to national patriotic education, as well as to improvement of the psychological and physical condition of the children. Classes will also be actively held for children to acquire new skills to save their own lives. The last 2 points are the novelties. This is all I have to share with you, and I'm ready to answer your questions in case there are. Thank you, Angelina Strashkovich from the Ukrinform. Are you aware whether the rescuers are checking the schools for the availability of bomb shelters and their workability? Do you know the situation in general in Ukraine regarding bomb shelters, and how many schools, according to your information, are ready to start the academic year? So far, specific numbers are not available, but my answer is that the emergency service will be checking the shelters and we will provide training. We have conducted more than 3,500 trainings of this sort. We began this project in Zhytomyr, for example, but the numbers will be available shortly. Let me emphasize that absolutely all schools and shelters will be checked for their availability and safety. In case the rules are not met or there are no bomb shelters at all, you see, the bomb shells must be available not only on the premises of the school or within 500 meters reach. If such conditions are not met, the schools will not begin instruction. Numbers are not available because we have just launched this checking process. Thank you. This press conference is over. Thank you and take care.